Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Here we review and talk about the movies and TV series we watch. And we try to make the best recommendations for you. Don't hesitate to let us know what you think of the movies we review on this channel, or to suggest movies you like us to watch and talk about. Today we are going to talk about Beacon 23. The show, as the name indicates, is about a tower in space that acts as a beacon for spaceships passing through the area. The Beacon 23 is controlled by an artificial intelligence called BART. We are introduced to the universe by Aster Calix, played by Lena Headey, and Halen, played by Stephen James. I must be honest, I originally came across this TV show because of the queer characters Calix and Coley. But after episode 3, I kept watching because I was curious about where the story would go. The first episode introduces us to the world, to the beacon and to the mystery. Aster arrives at the beacon and discovers that Stefan is a deserter and not the beacon's keeper. She manages to lock him up in one of the beacon's rooms. The following episode, new intruders arrive. They are looking to steal some loot. The raiders have been tipped off that the beacon is harboring something special, and Aster's only hope of survival is to find common ground with Halen and work together to eliminate them all. This new alliance is put in jeopardy when Coley, a manager from QTA, arrives at the beacon in episode 3. Coley is immediately suspicious of Halen and sees him as a threat, forcing Aster to make a difficult decision. As I said earlier, I only came to this show for this episode. But after it, I was still intrigued. So I kept watching. Unfortunately, the next episode was dedicated to a new character. Sophie, one of the original beacon keeper, has a surprise visit from Milan Aleph, the bumbling genius in charge of the beacons. At some point, she realizes that she has set a dangerous precedent with Bart. This episode helps us understand who Bart is, but it was a little disappointing that it didn't stick to the original timeline and characters at least a bit. The fifth episode returns to Aster and Halen, after the events of episode 2. She discovers a link between Halen's story and the mysterious stones that change the future and decides not to go back. Episode 6 goes on to introduce yet more new characters. It takes us back in time to discover how the rocks first came to appear on the Beacon 23. And shows us Aster's past. Episode 7 begins by showing us what happened to Bart and why he can't remember the past. Then, Aster begins to remember the past as she investigates the artifact and sees the return of Kier, a character we met in episode 6. Following Bart's actions in episode 7, episode 8 sees the arrival of the QTA mothership, forcing Aster to make a life or death decision for everyone on board, as Aleph, a character we met in episode 4, comes on board. By the time I got to episode 8, my investment in these characters was already gone, and for that I'd say it's a real shame. I had so much hope in this show that I've stuck with it until now, but I'm not sure I'll be coming back for more. Overall, this season isn't exceptional. The stories are basic and the characters aren't very engaging. Because of the jumping back and forth between past and present, I found it hard to stay really invested in the characters, even if it did move the story forward. Spending an entire episode without the characters I was first introduced to, and whose stories I was interested in, really hindered my investment in them. In each episode we are introduced to new characters with new motivations, and most of the time, it takes too long to get to the point. I'm usually a big fan of sci-fi, but I'm a little disappointed with this show, so I have to give it a 4.5 out of 10. The show is currently broadcast on M.G.M. Please bear in mind that this is our opinion and we encourage you to make your own by watching the movie. We hope you enjoyed the review. See you soon. Keep watching and supporting the channel.